Hi everyone! One of the main reasons why I went to Bali was to study Ashtanga Yoga at the Ashtanga Yoga Bali Research Center with Prem and Radha. And last week I finished my 1-month practice with them. Ashtanga Yoga is a style of yoga where you synchronize your breath with a series of postures to purify your body and your mind. It's physically and mentally very challenging, and you usually practice it 5 to 6 times a week. I started practicing Ashtanga Yoga after a 2-week introduction in India with John Scott, and I've been practicing on my own ever since because in Christchurch, where I used to live, there were no Ashtanga teachers. I'm drawn to Ashtanga Yoga for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's a fixed sequence, so that means you practice the same sequence every day. When I first started yoga, I thought that wouldn't be my thing because I thought practicing the same sequence over and over again would get boring. But actually, when you do practice the same thing over and over again, it's a lot easier for your mind to stop thinking and to get absorbed into the practice. Eventually, you count each of your breaths in your head while you move through the sequence, so your mind is totally focused on the practice. For example, in Surya Namaskar A, which is at the beginning of the practice, you start in Samastitihi and then it goes like this. Ekam, inhale, arms up. Dvai, exhale, forward fold. Trini, inhale, look up, lift up. Chatwari, exhale, jump back. Pancha, inhale, up dog. Shat, exhale, down dog. And stay in down dog for 5 breaths. So the count is in Sanskrit. Ekam means 1, Dvai means 2, and so on. And one day you would count this in your head throughout the whole practice. After your 5 breaths, it goes like this. Sapta, inhale, jump forward, look up. Ashto, exhale, forward fold. Nava, inhale, come all the way up. And Samastiti. Another big reason why I practice Ashtanga Yoga is because I love the challenge. There are a lot of poses where you first think, I'll never be able to do them. But when you work on them constantly, every time it gets a little bit better. And at some point, it might be in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months, maybe after some years, you finally get them. The part of me that wants to get those poses is my ego. And learning how to let go of it is a big part of my practice. It often takes a long time till you get in your pose, and Ashtanga Yoga teaches you to respect that. If you let your ego take over and you force yourself into a pose, then you'll injure yourself and you get nowhere. Facing those challenges over and over again helps me becoming more aware in difficult situations outside of yoga as well. Okay, so back to Ashtanga Yoga in Bali. By the way, here you can see my drive to the Shala every morning. So after a year of home practice without a teacher, I went to Prem and Radha to study with them for a month. Prem and Radha teach Mysore style, so that means you do your practice at your own pace and they come and adjust you from time to time. This is usually how you will practice Ashtanga Yoga at a studio. Many teachers also teach counted classes once a week. That means they are leading the whole class through the same sequence at the same time. But those classes are quite advanced, so if you want to get into Ashtanga Yoga, I would recommend that you go to Mysore style Ashtanga Yoga classes and not the counted or led classes. Anyway, during my practice with Prem and Radha, I've learned more about alignment than I have during the 3 years that I've been practicing yoga. They fixed almost every single one of my poses. That made me realize how little attention is given to alignment in regular vinyasa classes. Ashtanga Yoga has quite a bad reputation for causing injuries, but in my experience, hardly anyone teaches proper alignment in your modern vinyasa classes. So Prem and Radha worked really hard to get all those bad habits out of me that I've accumulated over the years. They are unbelievably patient. Almost every day in the same standing postures they adjusted me because I have a really hard time feeling if my hips are level. And I'm thinking if I was the teacher, I would get really mad if the person just doesn't get it after a couple of weeks. Another thing they worked on a lot with me was to balance out my left and right side. So I've been playing volleyball over many years, and that caused my body to get really unbalanced between my left and right side, because you know you have when you hit the ball you always use like your right hand if you're right-handed, and hardly ever your left hand, and those imbalances become really obvious for me, especially in backbends and in inversions. So now I'm trying to reteach my nervous system what's straight and what's not. I also used to hurt my wrists a lot and I never knew why. So it turned out I was doing up dog wrong the whole time, and nobody ever taught me how to do it properly. So I cannot recommend Prem and Radha enough. They are two incredibly competent teachers who put a lot of emphasis on alignment, and they give you modifications where needed. They're also not super religious about the practice, so if modifying the sequence makes sense for your body, they will do so. For example, Prem gave me the first couple of postures from the intermediate series to do before Urdhva Dhanurasana, because it made sense for my particular body and condition. So if yoga is not just a hobby for you and you practice somewhere where you don't get adjusted a lot, I would highly recommend that you try out a Mysore-style Ashtanga practice somewhere. And if you come to Bali, maybe check out Prem and Radha's Shala. Alright then, have a lovely day and keep practicing. Bye!